Welcome everybody to Right Hand Left Hand. Doing something a little bit different this week. Going to try our hand at a live broadcast. So all the fuck ups will be left in today. And it is Wednesday, June 9th, 2021. We got UFC 263 coming up this weekend. It's going to be a huge card. Marvin Vettori. That didn't take long. Versus Israel Adesanya 2 is the headliner, and we also have a second title fight with Davidson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, the rematch there of the draw that Figgy should have won last time, but he got a point deducted. So we will we'll go through and pick all 5 fights on the main card, stacked card. The prelims are great as well, so we're just going to pick a prelim that we're going to talk about, and then I'll have some picks out tomorrow. I'm sure, Josh, you're going to do a DraftKings as well, right, my man?
Yep.
So I'm actually very disappointed. I've been doing this scuba certification class for work because I do a little bit of diving, not anything crazy, but we had some funds, and so I decided to get scuba certified. And I was supposed to have my lake course last week, where we go out to the lake and we go and test out our diving abilities and show that we know how to not die and drown. And they pushed it because it had been raining out here in Oklahoma so much. They pushed it back to this weekend. So I'm going to have to watch the fights probably on my computer in a crappy hotel room in Oklahoma somewhere. So I'm not super excited about that. I typically throw like a huge fight night party with all my friends over, and we drink and play games and that sort of stuff and bet on the fights. So I'm pretty disappointed. What's your plan for the card?
Yeah, man. So this is going to be a good weekend, actually. It's the kid's birthday, so we're going to be celebrating their birthdays, and then we're going to be cooking out, grilling out. I'm going to have a bunch of people in my house, drinking, having a good old time. So unfortunately for you, I'm going to be doing the complete opposite.
I know. Normally it's you stuck at home taking care of the kids, and I'm out here having a party and watching the fights. But hey, happy birthday to the kids! So you got a 1-year-old baby girl, and Beckham is 2 now, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Already hitting them terrible 2s, man. Already.
Wow, man. Well, if he takes after you, he's never going to grow out of them. But
he probably won't. But it is what it is. But in other words, I was telling you before we got on here, I tweeted out to Budweiser, and Budweiser did tweet me back. Sorry, I'm trying to get the camera in here, and I want to thank them real quick. And what they said was, I was like, hey, that's your biggest sponsor or your biggest supporter here. I need a shout out. And they said, make sure that I have a Bud today. So I'm going to open this up for us while we're doing this show. And here's to you.
Attaboy, maybe we can get Budweiser to retweet the link to the recording once we post it on YouTube after that. That'd be cool, man. The next thing you know, we're gonna have Budweiser money flowing through here and Budweiser beer flowing through our veins.
Let me tell you something. Nothing wrong with that.
You want to go ahead and get into it, man? I know we normally
let's go.
We each pick a prelim fight, break that down. I'll give betting tips, like I said, on Lopez Locks, and Josh will do the DraftKings stuff. That stuff will come out on Friday. We also have Eric Anders as our guest on the podcast this week, so that'll post Thursday. Eric Anders is fighting Darren Stewart in the prelims. They fought each other, I guess, a couple of months ago, earlier this year, and Eric was about to. I think we both feel this way. He pretty much did knock out Darren Stewart. Darren was on the ground, and Eric tried to finish him with a knee, and you can't knee a grounded fighter in the head. So let's start there before we get into each of our prelims that we want to focus on. But who you got in the Eric Anders, Darren Stewart rematch?
I got Eric Anders again, man, just like last time. I think he's going to finish the job, get it done. It's just another fight, just to get him closer to that 185. I think he does match up with a lot of those 185ers, even though this fight's going to be at 205. It does worry me a little bit, just because I asked him even on the show, it's like, hey, is this going to affect your gas tank any? Because, when you're not cutting that extra weight, you're not really committed as much to your diet, and that's when you kind of slack off. And but he said he's good to go. He said the only time you ever see me gas out is that Thiago Santos fight, and that was the truth. But he was also taking some bombs in that Santos fight too, and that was at 205 as well. So I still think Eric Anders is the better fighter, the more well-rounded, and we'll get it done. And like he said, he thinks he's gonna submit him. So I like that.
I mean, I do think he's a better athlete for sure, and you definitely saw that in the first fight. However, not to do our guy Eric dirty, I'm not going to pick this fight. I don't want to pick this fight. I'm not even going to bet it probably. But if you do like betting, Eric's about a -150 favorite right now, and Darren's +130 dog. And I think there's actually some real value betting Darren down there, just because of, like you said, this fight's at 205. Darren's power didn't go anywhere. Eric definitely caught him and did some real damage to him early in that fight. But if Darren can flip the table and do the same thing to Eric, I think Darren's got a good shot of winning this fight still. I don't think that much has changed between then and now, and Darren was, I think, almost a 2-1 favorite in that first fight. So we'll see what happens. I'll be rooting for Eric, so I don't want to bet against him since he was nice enough to join us on the show. So make sure you guys check that out on the YouTube channel. That'll post tomorrow morning on June 10th, Thursday, before the fight card. So check out what Eric had to say to us. So we are going to go ahead and get now into our selected prelims. I guess you could call them a featured prelim, even though we're not actually the featured prelims here. I know we're chomping at the bit to pick one of these. So why don't you go first?
Yeah, man. So I'm super excited. This could be fight of the night potential, because these two guys are definitely going to stand there and bang, and that is Drew Dober and Brad Riddell. Those guys, they come, I think, it's kind of a toss-up. I've gone back and forth. I haven't made a decision on who I'm going to bet in this fight, but I'll make the pick here against you, though. With Drew Dober, the thing that really, kind of set him back, he ran into Islam Makhachev, who's just a monster in general, so you couldn't really tell where he made any improvements in that, in his overall game. I do look for him to try and level change on Brad Riddell, who's typically just a striker kickboxer, and try to take this fight to the ground, because Drew Dober does have some wrestling, but I think this fight's going to stay standing for most of it. And I see a finish on either side. I think this fight's probably not going to go the distance, but if it does, it's going to be one fun fight, and I can't wait for it. For me, I think I'm going to go, just because I'm going to stick with the Izzy camp. I'm going to go with Brad Riddell in this one and pick him. I think he gets a finish in this one. I think maybe second round, maybe early third round finish in this fight.
So you know me, I like the fighter who has more paths to victory, multiple ways to win the fight. I think Brad Riddell is a little bit of a slow starter. Nothing he said is untrue. I do think it'll mostly stay on the feet. I think it'll be a slugfest. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it does end up going the distance, just because these guys are both so tough. So and they're both hugely motivated, right? They're both on an upward trajectory right now. This is a great matchup. This is actually the UFC quote unquote featured prelim, which don't always understand how they choose those, but this one, it definitely deserves that spot. It's definitely the best fight on the prelim card. And like you said, Dober's got a little bit of wrestling, and if he can get Riddell up against the fence, especially early on, and maybe get some pot shots in there, a little bit of dirty boxing, I like Drew Dober to get the win, either by third round knockout or by decision.
All right, so we're mixing it up right away. I like it. Yeah. Because I need to make some ground up. I think. What am I down on you again now?
You're only down. You're only down one fight. I picked Shabazian a couple of weeks ago against Jack Hermanson, and it looked like he was going to win there. Although I did live bet Hermanson after the first round, because he took a beating in the first round, and I was like, well, this guy's experienced. Shabazian's still a little green. He's had success early in his career, but he hadn't fought anybody as good as Jack Hermanson, and so I ended up live betting Hermanson at like plus 200 or something like that. So that was a nice little consolation prize for my loss. But yeah, I'm still one fight ahead of you. I'm 22-14, and you are 21-15. So I gotta stop picking fights just to be different from you. I gotta just go with what I actually think here, which is kind of not what I did with that Shabazian fight. And then a couple of weeks before that as well, I did something similar on the last pay-per-view card. I don't remember what the pick was. I can't find it. Oh, it was the It was the Michael Chandler fight. I wasn't actually all that convinced on Michael Chandler, to be totally honest. But
Well, yeah, my man,
my featured
Charlie
prelim
Olives.
is going to be the Hakeem Dawodo and Evloev, Mosvar Evloev, however you say his first name. Sorry, Evloev. But this guy is 14-0. Evloev is. Dawodo is 12-1-1. Both these guys are hot shots in the featherweight or bantamweight. Excuse me. They're fighting at 145. Evloev is I guess a former bantamweight. I don't know what his deal is as far as his weight class. But anyways, Hakeem Dawodo was on a pay-per-view a while back. I can't remember if it was the McGregor pay-per-view or if it was, I think it was actually the Izzy and Jan Blachowicz card that Dawodo was actually on the pay-per-view. And he really impressed me there. He's superbly athletic, and he's actually a plus 195 underdog here. So I will probably bet Hakeem Dawodo. Evloev has not fought anybody this good. He's still, I think he's got, one or two UFC fights under his belt, but not as many as Dawodo does. I think Dawodo's got 5 or 6 UFC fights, and he's won all of them except for one. So I really like Dawodo to stand up. His striking, his kicks are going to be tough for Evloev to deal with, especially those leg kicks. He's got speed, and I really like Dawodo to get the victory by decision here.
Well, I'm going to go the complete opposite, even though I do like Dawodo, and I did bet him just mainly because of him being a sheer underdog, and I love the value in that. But for me, I'm just gonna go different with you, man. I just think that the undefeated fighter here is gonna get it done. He's gonna stay undefeated and make more waves in that featherweight division, and to get a big victory here over a very experienced UFC fighter.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. If Evloev can get this victory, that'll definitely catapult him probably into. Either of these guys, whoever gets the victory here,
they'll be in the top 15 for sure.
Yeah, and get a real nice matchup and have an opportunity to keep working their way up in the rankings. So I'm really excited about this fight. Like you said, all of these prelims are pretty good. That Carlos Felipe fight, I don't think will be a good fight, but I think that's a good bet. So tune in to Lopez Locks for that one. Chase Hooper's on the card. I know we're not covering that fight because Chase Hooper's been a little bit of a letdown after a big hype train, but I'm still interested to see how he does.
Yeah, this whole card is stacked. I texted you earlier, and I was like, this is going to be from the opening prelim to the main event. It's going to be exciting. All these fights mean something. Chase Hooper, if he can show that he's improved in the striking, man, he really got something there with that kid, because you don't want to go to the ground with him because he will submit you. And you saw that in the last fight where he was getting his ass beat the entire time and then pulled off a heel hook. He's very talented on the ground. His striking and striking defense really worry me, though, and I believe he's a favorite right now, and I'm not betting that fight at all.
Barely. It's pretty even odds. He's actually a slight underdog. At least he was last night when I looked. He was minus 105, and Steven Peterson was minus 115. So it's actually moved a little bit. Peterson's now minus 120, and Hooper is plus 100. I probably will stay away from that fight. I think Peterson will win, but I probably will stay away from it because Chase Hooper, like you said, he's got that submission potential, and he's so young. Like, he's like 20 years old. I think he just needs to. I think he probably cracked into the UFC a little bit earlier than he should have. I think his body needs to mature a little bit, and he needs to bulk up and work on that striking. And I think he'll be all right in the long run, but it's just going to take some time with him. So, you ready to move on to the main card? Make some picks here.
I am. Let's go ahead. What's the first fight on the card for us?
First fight on the card is going to be Paul Craig plus 245 against Jamal Hill minus 300. Jamal Hill's 8-0. Paul Craig's 14-4 and 1. A little more experience in the division. They had a little bit of they were supposed to fight earlier in the year. They had a little bit of a shenanigans there. It actually might have been last year, but Hill got COVID and was actually coughing up blood and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Craig was acting like he was a coward for not fighting because he was running away from the fight. He's like, dude, I was coughing up blood. So there's a little bit of beef going on there. They're not being like super disrespectful to each other. It's not a McGregor versus Khabib type of trash talk or anything like that. But there's certainly no love lost between these two guys. Like I mentioned, Jamal Hill, huge, heavy favorite. But I'm going to go with the more experienced guy here. I'm going to go with Paul Craig. He's got a good ground game. Jamal Hill, I haven't really seen that out of him against the type of competition that Paul Craig is going to be for him. So, and plus, Paul Craig has the best nickname. Oh God, what is it? I lost it off the top of my head. It's something Bear. I can't remember what it is. You're gonna have to look that up for me
All right, I got you.
While I stall here. But at any rate, yeah, I always like when there's a veteran who's this much of an underdog against sort of a rising, untested star like Jamal Hill is, and for that reason, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Paul Craig at the plus 245 here.
Well, I'm going to go against you again. I like Jamal Hill in this fight. I have him part of one of my parlays, and it's Bear Jew, by the way, for his name.
Bear Jew, that's what it
Bear
is.
Jew.
Yes, it was Bear something.
Yeah, I think Paul Craig doesn't get this fight on the ground. I like Jamal Hill to get it done standing and probably maybe gets a finish, but definitely wins by decision on this one. So I'm going with Jamal Hill in this fight.
Fair enough. I mean, he did get that victory against OSP, against Ovid St. Preux, who's, an accomplished wrestler and grappler, but he's a little bit past his prime compared to Paul Craig. So I like Paul Craig's chances. So I got you down for Jamal Hill, and it's a good thing we've been picking some different fights because I have a feeling that the rest of the way we're probably going to agree on all of these. But the next one up is going to be Bilal Muhammad versus Demian Maia, and I think I know who you got on this one, but go ahead.
You better remember the name.
That's right.
Remember the name, Bilal Muhammad, man. He was, it's sad that he didn't get that Leon Edwards rematch. It really is. It's interesting that they're both on the same card too, which is funny about that. I get it. Leon Edwards taking the bigger name than Nate Diaz. It is what it is. We didn't really get to see too much because that eye poke was brutal. But I think, he gets it done. I don't think Demian Maia takes him down. I think, he probably gets it done by decision in this one. You're probably going to see a lot of decision fights on this card until probably those top three fights. I think you're going to see some finishes in there. But, yeah, I like Bilal Muhammad in this one for sure.
Yeah, I think Bilal comes out hungry. He comes out fast. He comes out mad. I actually could even see him finishing this fight, to be honest. This is probably, to me, the most likely of the fights on the main card to wind up as a finish. So I got Bilal as well.
Yeah, I mean, Demian Maia, this probably is going to be the last time you see him. I don't know how many fights he's got left on his card or his contract, but probably not too many.
He came out and said that after this, he wants to have one more fight. And so, yeah, he's pretty much tailing off into the abyss. And, he's had a good career. Good for him. He's made a little bit of money.
Absolutely.
So you got to get out before you get too banged up and wind up, gibbering your words and can't feed yourself. So
absolutely. But, yeah, Bilal's going to get it done in that one for sure.
Well, speaking of gibberish, Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards. Nate Diaz, man, that guy never shuts up. I don't know. I mean, well, I do know, actually, how he's still in the game. Because he never shuts up, right? And because he's so entertaining and he's so tough. And that last fight against Masvidal that he had where he was just leaking blood and they had to force him out of the octagon.
Yeah, there's nobody tougher than those Diaz brothers, man. They're as tough as they come, and their striking is one of the best in the divisions. And it looks like we're going to see Nick coming back too. I'm excited to see both the Diaz brothers fighting this year. And I listened to Nate talking. He's wanting to do multiple fights this year. I think him and Connor again will be a fun fight. Those both those fights never disappointed. So I might surprise you on some picks here. You never know. But who do you like in this fight, Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz?
I like Leon Edwards, the minus 600 favorite. If it looked like I had a stroke there in the middle of my take on Nate Diaz, it's because I lost my connection. So the perils of doing a live show are really getting to us. But yeah, Leon Edwards all day. I mean, are you kidding me? He's in his prime. He's on the rise. This is a little bit of an absurd fight to even make for me. Like you said, I would have much rather seen the Leon Edwards Bilal Muhammad rematch, or Leon against another top guy. Colby's runs scared of him, but I like Leon in this one.
Come on with that Colby scared shit.
never gonna take a minus 600 fight though. So
I'm actually going with Nate Diaz in this one.
Oh, get out of here!
I think he gets it done by decision. I think the time off, even with Leon fighting Bilal last, we didn't see him. We didn't know what his cardio is. We don't know how he's improved. And if he's going to strike with Nate Diaz, that's a dangerous game too. Diaz is no joke, and he's gonna wear on you. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be in your face. And I like Nate Diaz in this one. I mean, I know I might be one of the few and sound crazy right now, but I'm not gonna bet it. But I'm gonna be pulling for Nate Diaz, and I think he gets it done.
So I think the sneaky play here is actually the over 4.5. It's plus money right now, plus 110.
I love that.
Nate's an absolute zombie. I think Edwards will pound him. I mean, Leon Edwards is a better all-around fighter than Jorge Masvidal, in my opinion, at this stage of his career. So you saw what Jorge was able to do to Nate Diaz. So I'm all over Leon Edwards. So hopefully I can pick up a pick on you there with that fight.
Yeah, and then we got the rematches. This card is full of rematches. There's 3 of them on here.
It is, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. I'm really excited about this one, and a lot of the fighters that we've talked to are really excited about this next one. Is the co-main event is Davison Figueiredo, Figgy, and Brandon the Baby Assassin Moreno. So it should be fun, man. I'm excited for this. I picked Brandon Moreno the last time. I'm pretty sure I don't really remember who we picked, if we even did one for that fight card. But I bet Moreno. I didn't get anything because of the draw, so it was a push. It was a fun fight. Figgy definitely probably should have won if it wasn't for the point deduction. Yeah, but I'm going with Moreno in this one. I think he gets it done.
Ooh, okay. I am not. You're shocking me with some of these picks. I'm going Figgy, man. He's about a minus 220 favorite right now. I think it should be a little closer than that. But like you said, I mean, he won the fight last time, except for the eye poke. I don't think the eye poke really affected Moreno's ability to fight all that much. If anything, the breaks benefited him probably, because Figgy's so tough and so powerful for his size. It's just absolutely unbelievable. I will never cease to be shocked by the power that he can deliver. And Moreno did impress me. That was a great fight. I don't think we picked it because I think it was actually before we started doing this. But I'm on God of War here. I can't pick against my man Figgy. I think he's going to be champion for a long time in the flyweight division just because of that unparalleled power. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out angry and gets a finish.
Well, that's what he's been saying, that he's going to come out and try and finish him in the first 2 rounds. And what worries me, if he tries to do that and blows his load, then what? Moreno's just going to wear him down. He needs tough. The Mexican fighters, man, they're tough as nails, and Moreno definitely embodies that as a Mexican fighter. He's going to be there in your face. He's going to be right there. He's not going anywhere. This fight, I feel like it's definitely going to go to another decision.
I had an opinion, but I got totally distracted by the fact that you were talking about Figgy blowing his load. That's really an unfortunate way to phrase it. But, yeah, you're right. That is a dangerous game if he comes out and just throwing too hard and gasses himself out. I think he's experienced enough at this point in his career and after a few title defenses that he's probably not going to do that. So if he doesn't get the knockout and, the first 3 minutes of the first round or so, he'll probably rein it back in a little bit and try and be a little more technical and a little more patient, and so that he doesn't gas himself out. He can get that break after the first round and kind of regroup and fight his fight. So, all right, we got a really spicy card building up here for our picks. So really, this could be a real turning point for us. This could be the difference maker for the whiskey bottle at the end of the year. So,
hey, you got to go bold, man. You got to be bold.
I'm actually starting to think you might be going opposite me in the main event as well. So let's go ahead and get to the second title fight of the night with Izzy Adesanya and Marvin Vettori too. I got his name right that time. How about that, man? I'm going Izzy all the way, baby. I think Izzy's still the superior fighter. Marvin might try to do some of that stuff that Jan Blachowicz did, where he'll just try and use his width to his advantage. But he's fighting at 185. He's not fighting at 205. He's not Jan Blachowicz. He's not going to be able to hold Izzy down like that. Izzy was almost able to get back out underneath from Jan Blachowicz on many of those takedowns. He just wasn't quite able to slip out of there just because of the sheer size of Jan. And Marvin doesn't quite have that level of sheer size, and he certainly doesn't have the level of kickboxing ability that Izzy does. I mean, pretty much nobody does. So I think it's pretty clear-cut here. I think Izzy gets the victory by decision.
Yeah, I like that pick. Don't get me wrong. I love Izzy. I think he is probably one of the best fighters in the UFC right now. And the last time that me and you both picked him, I lost. So I'm not making that same mistake again. I'm going with Marvin in this one. I think he gets it done by decision. I think you see a lot of grappling. I think you see a lot of pushing Izzy against the fence, maybe almost Kamaru Usman type against Jorge Masvidal where he's stomping his feet and everything of that nature. I think, Marvin's going to be right there in his face. He's going to be pushing the pace. This is what Marvin's going to do what Paulo Costa should have done to him. And what Gastelum couldn't finish the job with Izzy. I think that Marvin's a better fighter than both those guys, and I think he will be right there in his face. I think that he can withstand the shots that Izzy will put at him. I think it's going to be a really close fight, just like their first fight. I've watched it multiple times. Izzy caught him a couple times, especially with the elbows and the breaks. And Izzy's wrestling is definitely improved. I mean, you can't say that Jan fight. You can't hold that Jan fight against him. Moving up like that at 185 and 205, that's a big difference. It's just, and he's not a big 185er in general.
He didn't even get to 205.
Yeah, I mean, Izzy weighs in at like 183 sometimes, essentially, when he fights at 185. So, I don't get me wrong, I love Izzy, and I hope he does good. But in this fight, I think Marvin gets it done. I think you can see him, Whitaker, and Izzy kind of that belt kind of rotating between the three of them. I think Whitaker is a better fighter than Marvin, and I think Whitaker matches up better with Marvin than Izzy does, and vice versa with Izzy. So I think you're going to see the middleweight division is going to be fun, man. I'm excited for these next couple title fights between all those guys, and I'm going to go with Marvin in this one, and he's going to be your first Italian, the Italian Dream, going to be the first Italian champion in UFC history.
Yeah, man, I can't totally disagree with anything you have to say there. I just think it'll play out a little bit differently. I just think Izzy will have the edge. He has the benefit of, you might ask the question, well, does building up to fight at 205 and trying to get bigger for that fight influence his ability to cut back down to 185? But I mentioned a second ago, he didn't even reach 205. He was only at 203. So he basically just didn't cut weight for that fight, because that's probably about, he's probably walking around about 200 pounds most of the time. And you're absolutely right about the middleweight division. It's, in my opinion, probably the most exciting division to watch in the entire UFC, just because of not only the talent at the top, but the weight class itself. I mean, the talent, I say the talent at the top, the talent really throughout, right?
Right.
I just think it's the sheer power and the athleticism that they can have at that 185. You really don't get that combination in any other weight class. So, all right. So it looks like we actually the only fight we picked the same was the Bilal Muhammad fight. So this
gonna be a fun night of texting with you. Oh, you're not gonna watch it, are you?
Well, I think I'm going to watch it. That's yet to be determined. It sort of depends on where I'm staying. But if I don't get the chance to watch it, I'll let you know so you don't ruin it for me. So I can watch it.
You better tell me early.
No. But yeah, hopefully I can watch it on my computer or something. So thanks everybody for tuning in to our first live show. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RHLH Podcast, and this will be up on YouTube if you weren't able to make it live. So if you can't, go ahead and check it out. Check out Drafting with Sparks and Lopez Locks on the YouTube channel on Friday, and that interview coming up tomorrow with Eric Anders before his big fight. Yeah, and check out on Friday night, Bellator has a main event.
It's going to be a great fight. It's welterweight. Douglas Lima is going to be fighting on that card. It's going to be a fun fight, man. Looking forward to that on Friday night as well. And then you also got some boxing. Top Rank's going to have boxing Saturday as well. So make sure y'all watch some of those. We're going to try and get some of those guys on. I've been trying to contact as many people as possible, get some more interviews for everybody. So we'll keep generating some more. We're going to have another UFC fighter on. I haven't confirmed everything yet, but look forward to more news coming out. Again, follow us, subscribe, because those subscribes help us out more. And again, this Bud's for you.